Hello, Blackhawks Nation. Welcome to the Blackhawks Daily, your favorite recap of the daily buzz around your Chicago Blackhawks. I'm your host, PJ. Thanks again for tuning in every weekday while we're covering this awesome team. Yeah, as you know, dry off season, so we're just trying to keep the Blackhawks at front of mind, right? Trying to keep the jonesing at bay as we wait for hockey. Football season has started, baseball season's cranking along. It's time for hockey. Let's get some guys on the ice. And it's coming, we've been talking about it forever, but it's coming a lot sooner than we think. So just this coming weekend, we got the rookies out there, the Tom Curver's Prospect Showcase. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So we got 4 topics to cover today. Let's get into those. Number 1. So the Blackhawks wrapped up day 2 already of rookie camp today. I'm filming this on Thursday. They started yesterday. Apparently not a lot of news yesterday because I didn't really find much. But today, let me tell you, there was a lot going on. We had injuries, lineup looks, standout performances, and maybe even a Calder Trophy candidate in the making. Hey, we can dream, right? Let's break it down. This camp, the Tom Curver's Prospect Showcase, which is the campus 4, this camp is all about getting these kids ready for this coming weekend in Minnesota. The Hawks will face off with the St. Louis Blues on Saturday, Minnesota Wild on Sunday. But before we even get there, Thursday brought us some headlines. Unfortunately, we had a couple of injury scares. The big one, defenseman Ty Henry went down with looks like an ankle injury. He never returned to practice. Rockford head coach Jared Nightingale said that he's being evaluated, so no further update yet, but it doesn't look great. So our hearts and best wishes go out to Mr. Henry. And then we had a physical moment between AJ Spellacy, Tage Harding, and Aiden Thompson that led to Spellacy catching a cut to his face. But he left briefly, got patched up, and then returned just like a true blue hockey player. So no long-term concern there. Now on to the good stuff. Every player at this camp has some serious talent. But Sam Rinzel, he's on a different level. The gap between Rinzel and the rest of his age group is real. He controlled every shift in Thursday's scrimmage. Offensively, defensively, it didn't matter. He looked dominant. And if that summer of work he talked about after day 1 really sharpened his shot and boosted his physical strength, we might be talking about a legitimate Calder Trophy candidate this coming season. Yeah, he's looking that good. And I'm going to find those comments that he mentioned yesterday, but he's looking really, really good. So now let's talk about some lineups that were out there because they were interesting. So lineups can still shift, obviously, before Saturday, but here's how the group skated today. Top line, Vanacker, Moore, Lardis. Second line, Thompson, Green, Pridham. Third line, Beam, Spellacy, Misiak. Fourth line, Holmes, Gagne, Israels. Extra skater, Robinson. On defense, we had Harding and Rinzel, Kuzman and Levshunov, Cumby and Buckler, Henry and Mast. And for goalies, we had Berezhnoy and Flores as the only 2 there, so they're going to split goalies in the games. That top line of Vanacker, Moore, and Lardis looks like a future AHL top unit, or even an NHL third line if they keep developing. There's real chemistry forming there, and they're already getting looks in practice. As for the blue line, having Rinzel and Levshunov, 2 guys who could easily be your top 2 right shot defensemen on opening night in a prospect showcase, that's the kind of depth every rebuilding team dreams of. It's a luxury, but it also shows just how stocked our pipeline is. And while all this was happening, guess who was practicing on the rink over? Connor Bedard, along with most of the NHL roster. Main camp doesn't even start until next week. Woohoo! And these guys are already putting in the work. That speaks to culture, to commitment, and leadership. This is the kind of stuff that doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but matters in winning every locker room. And Friday brings another round of practice, followed by a morning skate on Saturday, and then it's game time against St. Louis that night. Sunday, they'll take on Minnesota, and both games will be streamed live. So if you're a prospect junkie or just love seeing the future of the Blackhawks, don't miss them. So there's a lot to be excited about, guys. This group is young, they're hungry, they're seriously talented. Let's see who makes a statement this weekend. If you're liking the rookie camp coverage so far? Let me know. We can talk more about it, but we're going to be talking about pretty much everything on this channel. So who do you think is your breakout pick for this year's prospect group? Let me know. I'd be really interested to know. Go Hawks. All right, let's get to our second point here. And that is, let's talk about one of the gentlemen we talked about. We've mentioned his name many times. We've talked about how great he was last year, but let's dig into him a little bit more. And that would be Mr. Nick Lardis. Skill, confidence, work ethic. Those three traits alone won't get you into the NHL, but when you've got all of them, you've got a real shot. And Nick Lardis is one of those guys who has a real shot to make it. The Blackhawks are back on the ice, obviously, we just mentioned, this morning on rookie camp. And all off season, I've kind of broken down a lot of the top guys, right? You know, we've talked about regulars, we talked about people who might be coming in as future NHL regulars. But let's talk about that next wave, the guys who are trying to force their way into the NHL conversation, and Nick Lardis is at the center of that. Lardis is already a fan favorite among Blackhawks faithful, and it's easy to see why. He torched the OHL last season. 71 goals, 117 points in 65 games. That is a nutso pace. Those are video game numbers, truly, when he's with the Brantford Bulldogs. And let's be honest, Chicago hasn't exactly been lighting the lamp the last few years. So when you get a pure sniper like Lardis coming through the pipeline, yeah, the hype is real. Some fans are already calling him the next Alex DeBrincat. And that's a big comparison, but stylistically, it's really not too far off. Will he crack the NHL roster out of camp? I don't know. He's very confident that he will. People say no, but don't rule it out. He's definitely going to get a real look. And at the very least, he's going to be a big piece in Rockford this coming year. Rockford head coach Jared Nightingale had high praise for Lardis after day one camp, saying his talent is through the roof. It's an adjustment playing against men and bigger D men, but I've got a lot of high hopes for Nick. And to his credit, Lardis didn't just show up. He put in the work this offseason, training with NHL names like John Tavares, Evan Bouchard, and Dylan Cousins. And that's a high-level group. He did battle drills with them, watched how they trained, learned what pro-level intensity really looks like. And his takeaway? Well, this is what he said. Juniors is a different game than pro hockey. You've got to be a lot stronger. Those summer skates opened my eyes to what it really takes. Lardis wants to show off that speed and that skill this weekend in Minnesota, and the Blackhawks fans should be watching closely. He's not just trying to make an impression, he's trying to stick. He's got the skill, he's got the confidence, from all reports, he's got the work ethic too. And as we've talked about, Blashill loves that, right? So those tools are there. Let's see what he does with them. So what do you think? Do you think Nick Lardis can be a legit goal scorer in the NHL? I mean, of any of our prospects, he's got to be up there on the top. Drop your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. It'll be a lot. And then we're going to talk a lot more about the Tom Curvis showcase next week. But it's going to be a lot of fun. This weekend's going to be fun. We're finally going to see some sweaters on the ice and people flying around. It's going to be great. All right, moving on from there. We've done a lot of in-depth stuff on people. We've talked about this gentleman quite a bit, but we really haven't touched on him too much. And we're going to do a little spotlight on a big mobile defender who's quietly climbed up the depth chart, Mr. Ethan Del Mastro. So let's start with the basics. He was drafted in the 4th round, 105th overall, back in 2021. He's a left shot defenseman. He's 6'4", 210 pounds. He's 22 years old. He's got 2 goals and 4 assists in 24 NHL games last season. Del Mastro isn't flashy, bottom line, but he's effective. And his story is a classic case of a late round pick doing everything right to earn his shot. He came up through the OHL with the Mississauga Steelheads, where he wore the C, and later got traded to the Sarnia Sting, putting up 59 points in 52 games that year. He also won back-to-back gold medals with Team Canada at the World Juniors and playing alongside guys like Bedard, Doc, Korchinski, and Nolan Allen. That's a strong pedigree. Last season, he was an AHL All-Star in Rockford. And when he got called up to Chicago twice, he looked like he belonged. He even logged nearly 18 minutes of even strength ice per game. For a rookie, that's really no joke. And hey, If you remember that stretch pass on the Donato goal, yeah, that was from Del Mastro. So here's what I like about him. He's calm. He's physical without chasing hits. He keeps his gaps tight. He's got that underrated offensive upside that people really don't talk about enough. His snapshot, sneaky good. His vision, even better. Anders Sorensen put it perfectly last year. He's willing to absorb a hit, hang on to it, spin off, and make a play. That's the kind of poise you need on a young blue line. So what's his role this season? Del Mastro is going to be in a battle at camp. The Hawks have a logjam at left shot defensemen, Korchinski, Vlasic, Allen, Kaiser, Del Mastro, and only three spots on the left side. If he doesn't make the opening night roster, he'll be one of the first call-ups for sure. There's a real path to 40 to 50 NHL games this season if injuries or trades open the door. Personally, I think he makes the team. He's too reliable. He's too steady. He's got too much on-ice smarts to overlook, especially if the Blackhawks are serious about building their D core from within. So what do you guys think? Does Del Mastro crack the roster out of camp, or is he heading to Rockford for a little bit, get a little seasoned to start this year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as you guys always do. I'm always coming up with roster previews until we got some games to talk about. So it's going to be fun, guys. Go Hawks, as we've been saying. And talking about your comments, let's get to a couple here. So we've got Mr. Jeff Freeze, 947, repeat offender. KK, Kirill Kaprizov. So he's talking about, yesterday we talked about how Kaprizov turned down the highest paying, it would have made him the highest paying player in NHL history, but he turned it down. So KK will have made about $50 million so far in his career. So it's not a situation where he needs to earn every dollar he can. It's just interesting because that contract amount is way outside of market, no matter how good he is. Excuse me. With his lack of durability, we would be scared about making him a foundational player regardless of a skill level. Nervous about a Tavares precedent, like what happened in Toronto, and also having Havlat PSD flashbacks. Yeah, that's a good point, right? You don't want to pay way too much money for a guy, especially since, I don't know, he hasn't been the healthiest, right? He's missed several games every year, so it'll be interesting. I mean, would he be great with Bedard? Of course, right? We would love that. We would love Connor McDavid next year to come play. There's so many great players out there that we would love to partner with Bedard. Obviously, KK would be an amazing addition. We'll see what happens. I was going to report more today on KK, but some of the reports seem to be a little premature, so I'll wait for those to flesh out, and next time I'll mention them for you. And we also have Tom Filipiak, 3511, a definite repeat offender. This gentleman's always here, which is awesome. Finally, well, it's about time, don't you think? Play the youngsters. You got enough of them. Let the cream rise to the top. Remember, prospects are just that. Oh, and that's true. And you know what? Tom, do me a favor. Let's watch the showcase this weekend. Let's get into it next week. Like, tell me what you think. Everyone, please tune in. Watch the showcase. Let's see who gets you excited. Let's see who makes you really want to watch and fully commit to the Hawks this year, because it'll be fun. These are just the prospects. Obviously, it's not the main roster, but the prospects is all where it's at, right? We're rebuilding. It'll be interesting to see what we got in the coffers here with these guys. So I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are excited for it. You're seeing this on Friday. Man, I hope this weekend is a fantastic one for you. I really do. For everyone, right? Because it's a wrap for today. And thank you always for tuning in every weekday. Thank you for always liking and all your subscriptions. So very, very cool. And also thank you for sharing about the channel. The more people, the merrier, as we get, built up to fully support the Hawks this coming Centennial season. The best hockey team on ice, the best city on this planet. I'm really looking forward to doing it with you guys. Let's watch the showcase this weekend. Let's talk about it next week. I hope that you guys have an amazing weekend. It's supposed to be a little hot, actually, after that nice cool off last week. But hey, it's going to be hockey season, guys and gals. So let's get into it, right? That does it for today. I'm PJ. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you next time on the Blackhawks Daily.